She's what you'd call a wife. Nothing but a convenience partner. Ellis didn't raise his voice, yet everyone in the private dining room heard. I sat next to him. My chopsticks paused midair. Laughter rippled around the table. His business raised a wine glass. Mason, that line's a killer. I set the chopsticks down and turned to look at him. Ellis met my gaze, not a flicker of guilt in his eyes. As if he'd simply stated a fact. As if I really were nothing more than a convenience partner. I smiled. Convenience partner, nice term. Convenience partners can be swapped, and so can husbands. The room went dead for 3 beats. Ellis's face darkened. Lydia, what do you mean? I ignored him, stood, and picked up my purse. Sorry, everyone, I'll be leaving first. Ellis grabbed my wrist. Sit back down. I stared at his hand, motionless. Ellis, you just call me a convenience partner, right? I was joking. Then I'm joking too. I shook him off. A convenience partner, someone you make do with. Since we're only making do, let's stop. I walked away. Behind me came a flurry of voices, some telling Ellis, don't argue with women, others laughing, Lydia's got a temper. I never looked back. The elevator door shut, and I leaned against the wall, sucking in a slow breath. Convenience partner. 5 years of marriage, and that's all I was to him. I should have known long ago. From day one, Ellis never posted a single picture of us. I told myself he was low-key. We skipped the wedding. He said it was a waste of money. I called it practical. I handed him my entire $300,000 savings to start his company. He said, I'll pay you back. 3 years later, not a cent returned. Once the company took off, he sneered, your little sum is nothing. My revenue's in the tens of millions. I figured he just had a clumsy tongue. Until tonight. Convenience partner. I'd given him my heart, and he'd labeled it convenience. I took a cab home, dry-eyed the whole ride. Not because it didn't hurt, but because it was too absurd. Absurd even for tears. The living room lights were off when I walked in. I didn't switch them on. I simply sat on the sofa. My mind replayed every scene of the past 5 years. On our wedding day, Mom asked, does Ellis treat you well? I answered, yes. Well, how? He had never once said, I love you. I told myself he was inarticulate. For his birthdays, I prepped gifts a month ahead. For mine, he sometimes remembered the date. I blamed his absent-mindedness. Each time I suggested a trip, he was too busy. Yet he could spend entire days golfing with buddies. I called it networking. Now I knew he wasn't inarticulate, forgetful, or busy. He simply didn't care. The lock clicked. Ellis was home. He flicked on the light, saw me on the couch, and froze. Still sulking? I said nothing. I was kidding, he said, sitting beside me. You're overreacting, Ellis. Let's divorce. He laughed, the kind that says you can't be serious. Lydia, are you drunk? I haven't touched alcohol. I looked straight at him. I mean it. Divorce? Over a joke? Over the truth you finally spoke. His grin vanished. What do you mean? You've never seen me as your wife, have you? You. Not one post about me. You forget my birthday. You took my money without guilt. I ticked them off. When you introduce me, it's always, this is Lydia. Never, this is my wife. I'm not the type to show off. You're not the type to show me off. His expression cracked. After a few seconds he stood, keys in hand. Cool off. I'm stepping out. Where to? Stuff to do. The door shut. I sat listening to his footsteps fade. Stuff to do. What stuff? A sudden memory surfaced. Ellis kept 2 WhatsApp accounts, one for work, 1 private. I only knew the work number. He'd never let me see the private one. It's just for business, he claimed. If so, why label it private? I'd never asked. I trusted him. But now, I walked to the bedroom. His old phone lay in the drawer, the backup he never used. I'd never touched it. Tonight, I opened the drawer. The phone was still there. I pressed the power button. Passcode required. I tried his birthday. Wrong. Our anniversary. Wrong. His company's launch date. Still wrong. I hesitated, then typed a string of digits. Sophie's birthday. September 17th. 0917. Unlocked. Sophie. Ellis's college classmate. They dated and broken up. He swore they were ancient history. Yet this passcode. I opened WhatsApp. The top chat bore a sunflower emoji. The latest message was from tonight. Wife. I called her a convenience partner at dinner. She'll throw a fit when I get home. So annoying. I scrolled up. Happy birthday, babe. Did the necklace arrive? Further. Once I'm divorced, I'll marry you. Up. She's just a tool, ignore her. More. I've never loved her. You're the only woman I've ever loved. My hands shook.
Tool.
Convenience partner. Backup plan. I wasn't even a real wife in his eyes. I read 5 years of chats. Since our wedding day, he'd never stopped talking to Sophie. The $300,000 I gave him? He bought Sophie a car. I thought he'd repaid loans. The money never hit the company books. Every late at the office night he spent with her. Every business trip, Sophie went along. And I played the fool, waiting at home, washing his clothes, cooking, cleaning. He griped my food was bland. I took cooking classes. He said my style was dowdy. I changed my wardrobe. I thought if I tried hard enough, he'd love me. Turns out Sophie was the only one in his heart. I put the phone back, killed the lights, and lay on the bed. No tears. Only a clarity I'd never felt. Ellis, you want Sophie? You'll have her. But I refuse to be your backup plan. Next morning I walked into a law office. Quinn, what kind of divorce settlement are you after? The attorney was a middle-aged woman, Wallace by name, rumored to have won 100 divorce cases. I want the house. I'd pay the down payment and handled the mortgage for 3 years. Ellis only took over after his startup soared. What else? 30% of his company. Zoe looked up. Grounds? My money seeded the startup, $300,000. We verbally agreed I'd get 30% once it succeeded. Written contract?
No.
I shrugged. But I have wire transfers and chat logs. I handed her my phone. She skimmed and nodded. Acceptable evidence. If he disputes, there'll be wrangling, but it's viable. I figured. I smiled. So I brought one more thing. What? Proof he cheated. Zoe's eyes sharpened. You're certain? Positive. 5 years of chats, transfers, hotel receipts. I have everything. Then this is open and shut. Zoe grinned. Quinn, I can promise you win. I smiled back. Morgan. Outside the firm my phone buzzed. Ellis. I declined. He called again. Still declined. A WhatsApp popped up. Lydia, where are you? Ignored. Another. Stop this, come home tonight, let's talk. I typed 3 letters. Nope. Then blocked him. Blocked his work account too. Every possible line cut. I drove to my parents' house. Mom opened the door and froze. Lydia? What brings you here? Mom, I'm divorcing. What? I gave her the short version. When I finished, Mom's face was livid. That animal Ellis. Mom, you should have listened. I said he had shifty eyes, not husband material. You wouldn't hear it. I looked down. She had objected back then. She'd said Ellis's gaze wandered, that he wasn't the steady type. I hadn't listened. I thought Ellis was driven, hardworking, destined for success. Looking back now, it's downright laughable. He did make something of himself. But what does that have to do with me? Enough. Dad cut in. The man wants a divorce. Stop adding fuel to the fire. He looked at me and asked, have you hired a lawyer? I have. Do you have evidence? I do. Then we're good. Dad stood up. A man like that isn't worth your tears. Once you're rid of him, you're still my daughter. Dad will support you. My nose stung. Dad. Enough, no crying. He waved a hand. It's embarrassing. I laughed through my tears. I stayed at my parents' house for 3 days. On the 4th, my lawyer called. Quinn, Ellis agrees to the divorce. But he won't give you 30% of the shares, 10 at most. Then we meet in courtroom. Understood. I'll file the suit. I hung up and started job hunting. Before the divorce, I'd been helping at Cameron. No title, no salary, just random chores. He'd said, you're co-owner. Why would you need a salary? I believed him. Thinking back, I was an idiot. I polished my resume and fired it off to several places. marketing director, brand manager, planning supervisor. I'd worked 5 years at an ad agency. I had experience. A week later, an interview invite arrived. Vance Group, a listed company, senior marketing manager. I looked them up, and my heart skipped. Vance had gone public last year. Market cap over 30 billion. Real estate, finance, tech, top 3 conglomerate in the city. Starting salary for a senior marketing manager. $500,000 a year, countless times better than the zero pay Ellis had given me. I took a deep breath, picked my sharpest suit, and showed up 15 minutes early. Vance headquarters, 40 floors. My interview, 35. The elevator was packed with tailored elites. I stood in the corner running through possible questions. The doors opened on 35 and I walked out, straight into someone. Sorry. I looked up and froze. He froze too. Lydia? I recognized him. Adrian, college classmate. He'd changed. In school he'd been tall and thin with thick black frames, the bookish type. Now, impeccable suit, contacts swapped in, the quiet authority of a man used to being in charge. It really is you? He smiled. What brings you to Vance? Interview. And you? Me? He paused, smile odd. I work here. Which department? Odd jobs. I figured he was joking. Gotta run, catch up later, I said. Good luck. The interview went smoothly. The deputy marketing director asked professional questions. I answered them all. At the end he said, Quinn, your background is perfect, but the president has final approval. Can you wait? Sure. 10 minutes later he took a call, expression shifting. Quinn, the president is free, follow me. We rode to 40, executive floor. He knocked, a voice said, Come in, and he stepped aside. Adrian, this is Lydia. I looked up and my brain blue screened. Adrian. He sat behind the broad desk holding my resume, a faint smile on his lips. Mr. Oddjobs was president of Vance Group. My mind buzzed. Sit. He indicated the chair opposite. I sat mechanically, head empty. Nervous? No. I inhaled, fighting for calm. Just surprised. Surprised you didn't Google the CEO before interviewing? I did. I had. The corporate photo showed him in glasses and looked 10 years older. Then it's my fault you didn't recognize me. He chuckled, eyes dropping to the page. Lydia, born 87, same year as me. Communications University, advertising major. 5 years at Blue Whale ad, then 3 blank. What filled those 3? I hesitated. Married. Helped husband start a company. Result, divorced. Reason. I met his calm gaze. No gossip, no mockery. Just a question. He said I was only a convenience partner. Adrian blinked. Convenience partner? Yes. In front of a whole table, he announced I wasn't his wife, just a convenience partner. And then I divorced him. Adrian gave a small nod. So you're job hunting now? Right. You don't want special treatment? No. I held his eyes. Adrian, I had no idea you were president. I applied through normal channels. If I'm unqualified, I'll walk. He studied me, suddenly smiling. You haven't changed. Changed how? Stubborn, he said. Back in college, never accepted favors, never feared pressure. I stayed silent. He set the resume down and leaned back. Fine. You're hired. Just like that, just like that. He nodded. Senior marketing manager, 3-month probation, company pay scale. You're not testing my skills? No need. During your 5 years at Blue Whale, you produced 3 viral campaigns. I've seen them all. I stared. You knew my portfolio. Don't look at me like that. He walked to the window. I wasn't snooping. Blue Whale partners with us. I reviewed those cases. Then why ask so much? Because I wanted to know how you'd lived these 3 years. There was something unreadable in his eyes. Lydia, I've waited a long time for this colleague. My heart missed a beat. What do you mean? He didn't answer, just pressed the intercom. HR, prepare Lydia's onboarding. She starts tomorrow. Then he looked up. Welcome to Vance. Outside headquarters, my thoughts tangled. Adrian president, saying he'd waited for this colleague? I flashed back to campus. Back then, he'd been our class. Quiet, top grades, good-looking but too reserved to stand out. We weren't close, yet not distant either. Once my thesis files vanished, he recovered them. Another time I fought with my roommate, checked into a hotel. He found me a sublet. I'd thought he was simply kind. Now, forget it. Priority one is finishing the divorce. Zoe said Ellis had hired counsel and was ready to fight. He denied my affair evidence, claiming chat logs were doctored. He also insisted the $300,000 was a gift, not investment. A gift, huh? I opened my phone, scrolled to the exchange. Ellis. Wife, I need seed money for the project. Can you advance me some? Me. How much? Ellis. $300K. I know you saved forever. I'm not taking it free. Once the company's up, I'll give you shares. Me. What percentage? Ellis. 30. You fund, I run. You're majority shareholder. Me. Deal. I'll wire tomorrow. A voluntary gift? Zoe says these logs help, but Ellis may shrug them off as casual talk. Fine, I said. I still have his chats with Sophie. There he plainly admits the money is my investment. To Sophie he wrote, she bet her nest egg on me. Why would I divorce now? Once we IPO, I'll boot her.
Boot me.
I collated those screenshots and sent them to Zoe. After reading them, she commented, Quinn, your ex-husband is truly a rare specimen. Avery, I couldn't agree more. On the hearing day, I took half a day off. Inside the courtroom, Ellis's face was stormy. His counsel blustered that the $300,000 was a donation, that chat screenshots were forged. Then Zoe produced the transfer slip, the original chat captures, plus Ellis's messages to Sophie. Riley, in your conversation with other, you plainly acknowledge the funds as investment and state you plan to divorce petitioner after IPO. Are these fabricated as well? Ellis's complexion cycled between green and white. His lawyer tried to counter, but the chain of evidence was too airtight. There was simply no way in. Finally, the judge ruled. The house was mine. 25% of Cameron's shares were mine. It should have been 30, but after factoring in the company's appreciation, it netted out to 25. Ellis would pay me $100,000 in emotional damage compensation. I had won. When I walked out of the courtroom, Ellis chased after me. Lydia. I didn't stop. Lydia, don't push it. I turned around. I'm pushing it. You just snatched a quarter of my company, and you still have the nerve to say I'm pushing it? Ellis. I looked at him, voice perfectly calm. That $300,000 was my blood and sweat money. I handed it to you, and you used it to buy Sophie a car. You supported your first love for 5 years with my money, and now you say I'm pushing it. That was what? Just words? A joke. I laughed. Ellis, you treated me like a convenience partner. Well, let me tell you, partners can break up, but the books still have to be balanced. You. And I cut him off. You said, I'll be better off without you. Time to test that. I turned and walked away. Behind me, Ellis roared, Lydia, you'll regret it. You think you'll find anyone better without me? I didn't look back. Whether I find someone better has nothing to do with you. Even if I stay single the rest of my life, I'll never come looking for someone like you again. On my first day at Vance Global, I could feel how professional the place was. Marketing had more than 30 people, every one of them busy, yet the bustle stayed orderly. My direct supervisor was Jordan, deputy marketing director, a crisp woman in her mid-30s. After she showed me around, she handed me a project. This is a new brand under Vance Global, aimed squarely at young consumers. You'll own the full marketing plan, do Emery. Got it. I took the folder back to my cubicle and started reading. The new brand was called Vance, a smart home line. Target buyers, urban white collars between 25 and 35. The product list wasn't long, but each item had a clear selling point. I spent 2 days digesting every spec sheet, then another 2 days building a complete campaign. Emery, Jordan nodded.
Solid.
Clear logic, numbers check out. Tweak 3 spots. All 3 notes were razor sharp. I wrote them down and revised. When I submitted the second draft, she said, Good. Run it past Adrian this afternoon. Adrian. My heartbeat skipped. At 3 p.m., I took the deck to the 40th floor. His office was huge yet sparsely furnished. He sat behind the desk, files spread in front of him. You're here? Have a seat. I sat and slid the deck across. He took it and turned each page. I sat opposite, nerves buzzing. This was my first assignment. I couldn't screw it up. 10 minutes later, he looked up. Nice plan. I exhaled. But there's one problem. I tensed again. What? You're playing it too safe, he said. Vance is a newborn brand. It needs fireworks, not baby steps. Your framework's fine, but it lacks a hook. I thought about it and had to agree. Any suggestions? What do you think? He shot back. I stared at the pages, mind racing. Cross-brand collab, I said. Team up with an IP that young people are crazy about. Release a limited edition. For example, I'll keep brainstorming. He smiled. Come back when you've got it. I stood to leave. Wait. I turned. Free tonight. I blinked. Sorry. Free tonight, he repeated. Dinner my treat. Why? To celebrate your first day, he said, and to celebrate your divorce. I didn't know what to say. No appetite for that. It's not. Then it settled. 6:30, I'll pick you up. He dropped his eyes back to the files. I stood there a few seconds before my brain rebooted. Adrian was asking me to dinner? To celebrate my divorce? What on earth? At 6:30 sharp, he appeared beside my desk. Let's go. I packed up and followed. He drove a low-key black Mercedes. Where to? What are you in the mood for? Anything. He nodded, started the engine. We ended up at a quiet sushi bar. Private dining room, just the two of us. After we ordered, he poured me tea. These 3 years haven't been kind to you, have they? I looked at him, unsure how to answer. I met Ellis once, he said. At your wedding, I attended. You were there? I didn't remember seeing him. I was, but you didn't see me, he said. You looked beautiful that day, but your eyes were wrong. Wrong how? A bride is supposed to be happy, eyes shining. Yours were empty, like you were going through motions. I flashed back. Ellis had been late, citing work. He'd been on calls the whole time, only putting the phone down for the toast. I hadn't been happy, no, but I'd thought it was just exhaustion. I knew then he didn't deserve you, Adrian said. But you'd chosen him. There was nothing I could do. You. Lydia, I've liked you since college. He said it evenly, as if remarking on the weather. Did you know? I shook my head. No idea. Understandable. He smiled. I was too timid to speak up. By the time I wanted to, you were already with Ellis. Then why say it now? Because you're divorced, he said. I waited 8 years, and now you're single. I stared, speechless. I'm not rushing you, he added. I just need you to know someone's been waiting. Take all the time you need. I'm in no hurry. The food arrived, as if nothing had happened. He started plating for me. Eat. This place has the freshest tuna. I stared at the slice in my bowl, mind reeling. Adrian liked me. For 8 years. From college till now. I never had a clue. That meal I ate on autopilot. Back home I lay in bed, tossing and turning. His words looped in my head. I've liked you since college. I waited 8 years, and now you're single. Take all the time you need. I'm in no hurry. I remembered college. Adrian had helped me again and again. When I lost my files, he found them. When I had nowhere to live, he got me a lease. When I was sick, he delivered medicine. I'd assumed he was just helpful. Turned out, enough. I forced myself to stop. Right now, the job mattered most. The divorce had just closed. I wasn't ready for a new relationship. Next morning, I clocked in as usual. Adrian acted no differently, speaking in meetings, assigning tasks, completely normal. A week later, I cracked the hook for Vance. Cross-brand drop, partner with a trending homegrown anime IP beloved by Gen Z. I built the full plan, co-design products, rollout calendar, media buys. Presentation day. Taylor nodded.
Fine.
Execute. Just 2 words.
Fine.
Execute. The weight in my chest finally lifted. For the next month, I lived inside that project. Launch day. The limited stock sold out in 24 hours. Social feeds exploded. The hashtag cracked the top 10. Jordan clapped my shoulder. Lydia, brilliant work. I grinned. My first win since the divorce. At the victory dinner, the whole marketing floor showed. Adrian came too. Deep blue shirt, no tie, more casual than usual. Alex, congrats. He raised a glass. Rowan, skip the title, call me Adrian. Colleagues nearby exchanged glances. I pretended not to notice and clinked his glass. Adrian, Adrian, Avery giving me the shot. You earned it, he said. I only supplied the stage. Then he turned to mingle, but his eyes lingered on me longer than on anyone else. That night, I drank more than planned. When I stepped outside, the world swayed. Adrian followed. I'll drive you. I'm okay. You've been drinking? No ride shares. He helped me into the car. I slumped in the passenger seat, eyes shut. Adrian. You really waited 8 years for me? He said nothing. A moment later he said, to be exact, 8 years and 3 months. I opened my eyes and looked at his profile. The streetlights outside the car window flickered across his face. Why? Why what? Why me? He thought for a second. Sophomore year, you fell on the campus quad. Scraped your knee pretty badly, blood everywhere. I remembered. I'd been racing to class, running too fast, and tripped. You had tears in your eyes from the pain, but you didn't make a sound. You stood up by yourself and limped to the clinic. And then I fell for you. He smiled. I like people who refuse to lose. I didn't know what to say. The car stopped in front of my building. I got out and stood by the window. Adrian. Give me a little time. He smiled. Okay. He started the engine and drove away. I stayed where I was, watching his car vanish into the night. My heart was racing. From then on, Adrian and I kept a delicate balance. He didn't push and I didn't hide. We spoke normally at work and had the occasional dinner after hours. He never mentioned that night, as if he really weren't in a hurry. But I knew he was waiting. 3 months later, my probation ended. Jordan called me in. Lydia, congratulations on making it permanent. The boards also decided to promote you to associate marketing director. I stared at her. This fast. Your numbers speak for themselves. The Vance deal netted us an extra $30 million. If you're not associate director, who is? I accepted the promotion. The night it was announced, Adrian sent a WhatsApp. Congratulations. Dinner tonight, I replied. Sure. He took me to a Michelin-starred place. Halfway through the meal, he suddenly said, I want to court you. The proper way. I set my chopsticks down. Adrian. I know you need time, he cut in. But I want you to know I'm serious. You've only known me a few months. 8 years and 6 months, he corrected. To be exact, 8 years and 6 months. I studied him. Aren't you afraid I'm just climbing the social ladder? He laughed softly. Lydia, if you wanted to climb, you'd have hooked someone 3 months ago. That's not you. How can you be sure? Because you never come to me on your own. You never mention the promotion. Every proposal you submit goes through proper channels. You haven't even told anyone at the office that we know each other. I couldn't argue, he was right. I didn't want anyone thinking I got ahead through connections. So, he continued, I'm not worried. What worries me is that you'll never give me a chance. I looked down, wordless. Lydia.
He spoke my name.
I lifted my eyes. Will you give me a chance? I gazed into his eyes, completely earnest, not a trace of joking. You don't have to answer now, he said. Just think about it. That night, I lay awake for a long time. Adrian was a good man, capable, patient, kind to me. But I'd been divorced less than 6 months. Was I really ready to start something new so soon? I called Mom. Mom, if there's a man, great on paper, treats me well, should I be with him? Silly girl, Mom said. Paper doesn't matter. What matters is how he treats you and how you feel about him. I don't know yet. Then take it slow, she said. Feelings grow if you let them. I hung up. The next day, I found Adrian. I've thought it over. I'll give you a chance. But let's start as friends. He smiled.
Deal.
So we began our starting as friends arrangement. Every noon he would ask what I wanted for lunch, but he never showed up uninvited. Every weekend he would invite me to dinner, yet he never forced me to accept. He gave gifts, practical ones, an ergonomic chair, a desk lamp that eased eye strain, a set of skincare he knew I used. Never flowers, never pricey jewelry. Useful things you touch every day, he explained. Flowers wither in 2 days. His logic defeated me. 6 months later, I reached out and took his hand. He froze for a second, then grinned. Lydia, do you know? Know what? I've waited 9 years for this day. I smiled back. Then you don't have to wait anymore. After we officially got together, life settled into a quiet rhythm. He didn't interfere with my work, and I didn't meddle in his. We dated, dinners, movies, like any normal couple. The only difference, he was the CEO of a listed conglomerate, and I was its associate marketing director. No one at headquarters knew. Adrian didn't tell, and neither did I. Then came the annual Vance Holdings Partner Conference. Big-name owners from all over showed up. The ballroom was packed. Attending as associate director, I was chatting with one partner when a familiar voice rang out. Adrian, honored to meet you at last. I turned. Ellis. Tailor designer suit, oily smile, pumping Adrian's hand. Casey, Adrian answered, polite but cool. Adrian, I'd love to discuss our new project, total game changer. He rattled on. Adrian cut him short. We can talk cooperation another day. Tonight's networking, crowded, not the moment. Ellis's grin stiffened. Right, another day. Your time is precious. Won't disturb you. He stepped back, scanning the room. Then,
He spotted me.
his face strained. Lydia? I looked at him calmly. Ellis, what are you doing here? His gaze dropped to my badge, eyes bulging. Vance? Associate director? Correct. Since when? After the divorce. His complexion turned the color of old parchment. When we'd split, he'd sneered that I'd never do better than him. Now I stood at Vance's gala, associate director badge on my lapel. The slap to his face was audible. Casey. Adrian spoke suddenly. Sam. You know Director Lydia? Ellis's mouth opened and closed. We knew each other once. Oh. Adrian's tone was faintly amused. What sort of relationship? Ellis flushed crimson. I answered for him. Ex-husband. Adrian gave a small nod. I see. He turned to me, perfectly casual. Lydia, this gentleman is my ex-husband, I said. Ellis. The room went dead silent for 3 beats. I could feel the stares, shock, curiosity, popcorn mentality. Ellis looked ready to dissolve into the carpet. Adrian, Lydia, she's my girlfriend, Adrian said, voice mild, carrying to every ear. Ellis went bone white. What? Lydia is my girlfriend, Adrian repeated. Casey, is that a problem? Ellis's jaw worked. No sound came out. Girlfriend to the CEO of Vance Holdings. The man who had once called me a mere convenience partner. Casey, Adrian continued, voice cooling, I heard your marriage ended because you publicly called her a convenience partner? Ellis froze like a specimen. Interesting word, convenience partner, Adrian mused. To me, anyone Lydia chooses as a partner should feel honored. Pity you threw that privilege away. He turned, extending a hand to me. Come, someone's waiting to meet you. I slid my fingers into his, and we walked away, leaving behind Ellis's bloodless face and the swarm of whispers rising in our wake. After the gala, word swept the industry's circle like wildfire. The girlfriend of Vance's CEO turned out to be the ex-wife of some small-time owner, the same man who had branded her a convenience partner. Now the convenience partner stood on the CEO's arm, while the man who'd mocked her became the laughingstock. 1 week later, Ellis's company hit turbulence. His biggest client, tied to Vance, terminated their contract. Reason given: strategic adjustment. Everyone knew the real reason. The scene at the conference. Ellis panicked. He pulled every string, begging an audience with Adrian. Adrian refused.
He tried to reach me.
Every contact he had was blocked. In the end, he showed up at my parents' house. I was there for dinner when Mom said, Ellis came by. What for? Pleaded for your help. Says his firm is about to file for bankruptcy and wants you to put in a good word with Adrian. I smiled. And then your dad chased him out with a broom. Dad snorted beside me. What a piece of work. That's how he treated my daughter back then, and now he comes begging. I said nothing. After dinner we got home, and Adrian asked, about Ellis. How do you want to handle it? What do you mean? If you want to help him, I can let him off the hook. I looked at him. Why would I help him? Because you were once married. I don't want you to feel torn. I thought for a moment, then shook my head. No need. He knows exactly how he treated me. The mess he's in now is his own making. Adrian gave a small nod. All right. 1 month later, Cameron filed for bankruptcy. Every house and car registered to Ellis was liquidated at auction. The day the bankruptcy was announced, Sophie broke up with him. I heard the news while I was having dinner with Adrian. How do you feel? He asked. Nothing, I said. His life has nothing to do with me anymore. Adrian smiled. Lydia, I fall for you harder every day. Oh, you never dwell on the past, he said. When something's over, it's over, and you keep moving forward. What's there to dwell on? I said. Ellis is my past. You're my present. Why would I waste time on someone from yesterday? He reached out and took my hand. Then, am I your future? I looked at him. That depends on your performance. He laughed. That night he proposed. At the same Japanese restaurant where we'd had our first meal. Same private dining room. Same table. He dropped to one knee and produced a diamond ring. Lydia, will you marry me? I stared into his eyes. In them I saw a tension I'd never seen before. What are you nervous about? That you'll say no. Why would I say no? Because, he thought. I don't really know. I laughed. Adrian, are you an idiot? Probably, he said. Crazy in love with you. I offered him my hand. Yes. He froze. What? I said yes. I'll marry you. His eyes lit up. When he slipped the ring on, his fingers were trembling. Lydia. Avery you. I shook my head. It should be me who Avery's you. Avery you for waiting 9 years. Avery you for showing up when I was at my worst. Avery you for letting me know what it feels like to be treasured. On our wedding day, the best hotel in the city was booked solid. The guest list was packed with fortune-level executives. Mom and Dad sat in the VIP section, grinning ear to ear. Halfway through the ceremony, a commotion broke out at the entrance. Security came over. Adrian, there's a man outside insisting he knows Mrs. Vance. Who? Ellis. Adrian and I exchanged a look. Let him in. But, let him in. 5 minutes later, Ellis was escorted inside. He'd lost weight, his face unshaven, his shirt wrinkled. He looked totally out of place. Lydia. He rushed up. Please help me. The hall fell silent. I looked at him. Help you with what? My company collapsed. I'm broke. Sophie left me. His eyes reddened. I have nothing left. Lydia, you always had a soft heart. Help me, please. Ellis. I cut in. Yeah, remember what you said? He froze. You called me a convenience partner. Said I didn't deserve you. Said I'd never do better than you. And now you come crawling back? I smiled. Ellis, you don't even deserve the title ex-husband. The only label that fits is former convenience partner. His face went white. Lydia. Leave, I said. Today is my wedding day. I don't want to see you. Security stepped forward and took his arms. Lydia, he shouted. You'll regret this. You'll regret it. No, I won't, I said. The best decision I ever made was divorcing you. They dragged him out. The ceremony continued. Adrian held my hand and whispered, Sorry you had to see him. It's fine, I said. That was the last time. From now on there would be no more Ellis, only Adrian and me, and the future we would build. Married life was even better than I'd imagined. Adrian was the kind of husband who cooked dinner himself when he didn't have to work late. The food was average, but the effort was adorable. He woke up 10 minutes before me every morning to make breakfast. He remembered every preference, what flavor of cake I liked, what color of flowers I loved. Once I asked, "How do you keep track of everything?" He said, "Because it's you." For words, yet they moved me for a long time. A year after the wedding, I got pregnant. Adrian was as excited as a kid. He handed daily operations to his COO so he could stay by my side. "You don't have to," I said. "I'm not an invalid. That's exactly why I need to be here, before you are." 10 months later, our daughter was born. Adrian named her Jamie. "Jamie, short for I've been thinking of you all these years," he said. "She's the greatest gift the woman I missed for 9 years could give me." My eyes welled up. "Adrian. Avery you, for never giving up." He smiled. "I should be the one Averying you." On Jamie's 1-month celebration, Mom and Dad came. Mom held the baby and wouldn't let go. Dad stood nearby, eyes red. "Lydia," he called.
Dad.
Wasn't Dad right? Dump that bastard and you'd still thrive. I laughed. "Dad, you were absolutely right. That night I dreamed. I was back on the day of my divorce." Ellis stood sneering. "Think you'll find anyone better without me?" I looked at him calmly. "I already have." Then Adrian appeared beside me, took my hand, and said to Ellis, "Avery you for letting go. Otherwise, I'd never have had the chance." Ellis's face contorted. I woke up. Adrian lay beside me, still asleep. I studied his profile and couldn't help smiling. Ellis said I was a convenience partner. Adrian said I was the one he'd waited 9 years for. Right and wrong, crystal clear. 5 years later, Vance Holdings' market cap had tripled. I'd risen from deputy director to vice president. Jamie attended the best kindergarten in the city. The three of us lived in the top villa district in Eastbrook. One afternoon, I was waiting in a cafe when I overheard a nearby conversation. "Did you hear? Ellis is delivering food now." "Seriously? Didn't he used to run a company?" "Company folded ages ago. Drowned in debt. Lost everything. Serves him right." I heard he treated his wife like dirt, called her a convenience partner to her face. Then what? They divorced. She married a listed company CEO. Wow, now that's winning at life. I sipped my coffee, the corners of my mouth lifting. Winning at life? Maybe. But I never saw myself as a winner. I simply made the right choice. Leave the wrong person, meet the right one. Nothing more. Adrian arrived, sat across from me, and took my hand. "What are you thinking?" "That I'm so glad I divorced him back then." He smiled. "I'm glad you divorced him, too," he echoed. "Otherwise, how long would I have waited to marry you?" "Maybe a lifetime." "Then I'd rather wait a lifetime," he said. "Because it's you." I looked at him. 9 years ago, he'd watched me trip on the campus quad. 9 years later, he had become my rock. "Adrian. Avery you." "For what?" "Avery you for letting me know how it feels to be truly cherished." He squeezed my hand. "Lydia, that's my line." He gazed into my eyes. "Avery you for choosing me." Thanks for listening to today's story. How would you rate it from 1 to 10? If you enjoyed this video, please like and share it with friends. We look forward to reading your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more wonderful stories.
See you next time.